As the Mayor of Haverhill, I have great pleasure in declaring that the British Ugandan Asians at 50 exhibition here in Wickenbrook Memorial Hall is now officially open. Thank you all for coming along today. I would now like to pass you over to Professor Akbar Vohra, who I'm led to believe was actually a Stradishall Camp resident. Professor Akbar Vohra.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to the committee for inviting me to come and speak to you. I haven't got a prepared talk right now, but most of my memory hopefully will come across to you. I was just saying to some of the people I've talked to already, they've just come across from Minorca, broken into my holiday for a weekend, and it's almost 50 years, the 27th of September, 50 years ago, that we landed at Stansted. And I've actually come to Stansted, and I'm going back to Stansted tomorrow. So should have just timed it a bit better, and it would have been exactly 50 years. I was 12 when we arrived in Stansted and then Stradishall. My parents were 41 and 36, peak of their economic prowess, I would suggest. And my sisters behind you there, a younger sister and an older brother and older sister with us. I have vivid memories of Uganda. My school was next to the Houses of Parliament. I used to walk by the Houses of Parliament every day. I can remember seeing Obote before Idi Amin overthrew him. I can remember seeing Idi Amin driving in his Jeep. I can also remember Idi Amin saying hello to us at a Eid prayer meeting in Kibuli Mosque, and he was there with his entourage, and we were all smiling and clapping because obviously he's the president and he's so nice, and I can remember a beaming smile from him. Little to know that 6 months later we'd be told you have to clear off. My grandfather went there in the 50s. My father joined in 2 or 3 years later after my mum and dad got married. And they were British subjects in 1950, 1953 and 1955 in that order. And obviously we had British subject passports as well. So it was almost automatic for us to assume that we would be going to England. Kenya had already closed the border. Not that we would have wanted to go there. I'm not sure why we would do. Could have gone to India. There were offers from Canada and Belgium and various other places. But we came here. And I can remember, I've looked at the temperatures. They were actually 17 degrees in the daytime and about 8-9 degrees in the night time. But I was freezing. I got off this plane in shorts and a thin shirt, and my knees were knocking as soon as we got off on the evening. BOAC 1046 was the flight number. I know this because there's a receipt that my dad was given for 10 shillings that were confiscated off him at Entebbe Airport. My dad paid for a coach with other families to have police escort to go to Entebbe Airport so we wouldn't get looted. I was strip searched at Entebbe Airport. I was asked, was I hiding any valuables? I still can't find it, but I had this blue marble as a magnet that I could show him. And I still look in my loft and I hope I'll find it. So 27th we got here. Went to the admin building. There was a really nice blue duffel coat that I found and kept me warm. We slept on mattresses because it was very early in the period of Stradishall Camp. So mattresses in a sectioned off part of the hangars. My mum didn't want to stay there. She told my dad to go and find whatever job he could. He had a letter of introduction to go to Stoke, Michelin, because he was manager of Michelin tyres in Uganda. But there was an offer of an interview, and if successful, a house. And so Charles Swift was vilified a lot for offering 50 houses in Peterborough to people who surely didn't deserve it, because we've got our own locals who need a house, and you're giving it away. But he got the job. We were probably the first ones to get to Peterborough, and schooling was there. My dad worked as a stocks clerk. I had probably more Pakistani kids saying, "You've caused racism, why don't you go away," than other friends. Most of my friends were Polish, Italian and English. I didn't really have any Asian friends at all, and we all integrated well. And then I've since after that went to college and university in Manchester, and brought up in Manchester. My oldest daughter's a GP, my middle daughter's not a professor, but a PhD, a Doctor of History in York, and the youngest one's working for Barclays Bank. All these things that have happened, really, this exhibition isn't about Ugandan Asians and how we've achieved things. I'm pleased I have. I've done lots of teaching, I've done lots of research. My bucket for research is overflowing. I've taught hundreds of medical students, doctors from around the world. I've lectured in America, India, Georgia, China. I've had people from all over the world coming to my meetings. And I've taught SAS soldiers to make sure that they survive for the 45 minutes before they get extricated from some jungle or war zone, to medical students. So I've done a lot. I'm really pleased with this. I wouldn't be doing all this, I wouldn't be talking to you here if it wasn't for the people here who did everything. And you've seen some of the pictures of what went on. I spent 2 weeks, obviously, but others spent longer. No one, I've said to people, none of the people who did what they did were obliged to do it. To have stood up and helped a group of people because you wanted to is outstanding. In terms of personal well-being, people say that, if you actually reflect on what you've done for others, you do feel better for yourself. So there is, in terms of well-being for yourself, there's a positive thing there. And they should be proud of them. It's a shame many aren't here. I can remember this, one of the chef's assistants playing cricket with him. He used to call me Tiger, and I wish I'd met him again. He could never get me out, by the way, and I didn't get him on the head. So, and I was talking to my brother, and I said, describe one word, and it was the same as mine: grateful. Grateful is what I and my family feel about everything that was done by the people here. You'll see the different exhibitions of where people have helped, and I think it's important that you appreciate that and that it is valued. There's a lot of value in what people have done, and I can just say thank you, and thank you to all of you for organising such a really good exhibition. I think I'll stop.